Good morning. It is week 8, I believe. That's 2 whole months now that we've been in quarantine, which is even longer actually. Anyway, it's week 8 in the garden, and a couple changes this week. We have, strangely enough, this lettuce has started to grow all of a sudden. I have no idea what conditions or why it has decided to start growing, but it has, so I'm letting it go, which is funny because the lettuce in the actual garden is actually starting to bolt. So maybe this was just some very slow growing lettuce. I don't know, but there's some lettuce in here, and you know, maybe I'll be able to eat it soon. So this container is actually the only one left of the sort of over rail lettuce containers. All the others have been repurposed or moved or whatever because they weren't doing anything. This is the last one standing, and shockingly it's doing something, so I'll leave it for now. Over here, I actually don't know if this was here last week. There may or may not have been a furniture set here last week. I can't even remember anymore what week we're in. I've also planted, this is actually the back side of them, but I've planted, these used to be lettuce in here also, and you can sort of see, if I look in a little bit more closely, there is actually still lettuce in here. I just kind of turned over the dirt and added some more soil and put all this stuff in. So the goal here is to have flowers, and this is my first ever attempt at sort of arranging, I guess you can call it a planter box or window box or something. And you know, it's not perfect, but it's something. All of these are supposed to stand straight up, and they don't. I don't know if it's a root thing or what, or just the style of the plant, but they don't want to stay upright. I kind of try and stand them up every morning. Maybe I have to stake them or something. I don't know. They were standing, uh-oh, I think a leaf just fell, or a whole branch just fell off. Yeah, I don't know. And then, so these are, I wish I could remember all these names. I think these are called something like Angelica or something with an A. They're kind of upright. They came in a set of 3 per pot, which is nice because I only had to buy the 1 pot and then I split it. These are Supertunia something or others. This is verbena, which is kind of hoping, I'm gonna hope that cascades down. I'll show from the other side what it's supposed to look like. And then I don't know what these are, but they were cute, so I got them, and they're colorful and I like them. And then what else? Oh, these were in the other planter box that used to be lettuce that I put a bunch of flowers in, and those weren't really growing, so now they're in here. That planter no longer has anything in it, so these guys came from there. There's 2 more in the other one, so there's an identical, well, it's not quite identical, it's mirrored in that one, so that the sort of Supertunias lean or fall to the outside, and then the colorful ones fall to the inside, and then everything else is the same. I'll show you those from, oops, chairs. There's Penny. Hello, Pen. So the plan is that these will sort of cascade down, and so will these, I think, or rather the middle ones, where, here. You can kind of see it better on this one. The verbena is right there, and that should come down, and then these should come down. I think those kind of grow upwards, and you can kind of see the white spiky ones. They should fill in, and I don't know, we'll find out what happens there. While I'm over here, we'll just change up the order this week. The basil is perking up. So we had, I'm pretty sure this was between the 2 videos, a ton of rain. We had something like 3.5 inches overnight. So all of my planters were flooded. I realized that this one didn't have a hole at the bottom, so now it does, but this was flooded and overflowing. And so were my my little greenhouse tray up on the deck. That was entirely overflowing. So there was some trauma to the plants over this past week, but the basil is starting to perk up. It's starting to grow. It's not quite yellow anymore. So soon, I think, I will come in and start to prune it a tiny bit so it starts to bush out a bit more. But for now, I'm just happy it's alive, and I'm not gonna mess with that. These guys I've been trimming. They're looking a lot less bright. I think it's just because it's so much warmer now than when they were planted. And the strawberries, the leaves are really bushing out. There's still no sign of flowers in here, but at the very least there's a lot more leaves, so that's progress. I'll take that. Just looking around to see if I see anything. I don't see anything flower-ish even coming out yet. Oh, that might be something. Focus. Right there. So that looks like it might turn into a flower. So it is June, it is strawberry time. So let's hope that that actually turns into something. And then I think that's it for over here. I'll do the garden bed next since I'm here. And oh, this is another one of the flowers that was in the lettuce container. So there were 5 plants in there. So there's 4 now in the deck boxes, and this is, well, it's sad looking, but there it is. Fun updates on this front. Oh, there's a lattice. I put this up yesterday during my lunch break. So I had this piece of trellis. It's actually at my mom's house. And this is what I grew my cucumbers on, what's that now, 3 years ago? And my cucumbers were insane. So this is just that piece of lattice, but that I had leaning up against her fence, but I don't have that option here. So I bought these 2 sticks and cut them down to what I needed, zip ties, and then they're drilled into, right there, they're drilled into the inside of the box. So hopefully that will survive wind if that did happen. But yeah, I have a trellis now, and the cucumbers are just starting to reach the bottom of it. So those will start to grow up there soon enough. And then, so fun discovery this week. These pepper, I'll air quote that now, pepper plants have been driving me nuts because they don't look like pepper plants, right? They have no characteristics of pepper plants. Pepper plants have, I mean, I have 2 of them here, one here and one here, like long kind of pointy leaves. And these leaves are huge. Like that's almost this, actually that is bigger than my hand. And I could not fathom how this was a pepper plant or what was wrong with my jalapenos. I googled jalapeno plants. I was trying to see if maybe I just had a strange variety or something. And I knew what I planted, so I couldn't figure out anything else that it could have been because I had accounted for all my plants. But then my neighbor came over the other day. She was standing at the fence, and she says, "Oh, you're growing beans there." I said, "No, you know, the peas are back there, and those are all peppers." She says, "They look like beans." And I remembered, because I knew that there was something wrong with these plants. These are actually green beans. And I guess, I know those labels kept flying off in the wind. So I guess when it was windy one day and the labels flew off and I put the labels back on, I mixed up my jalapeno label with my bushing bean label. So this is not pepper row anymore. This is pepper, beans, and pepper row, which means I don't have a jalapeno plant. So there goes all my salsa plans, but at least these are growing very, very well. And I just noticed these are new today. So we have little baby, I don't know if they're flowers first or they already flowered and I missed that, and now those are just the beans. But there's little baby friends coming out here, so unintentional. But those are, I believe, based on what I remember I bought, those are string beans. So bell pepper, which is being eaten, by the way. I'm trying to figure out what's eating it. I keep catching the birds in here, but they're not eating leaves, and I don't see any bugs on it. So I don't know what's eating my pepper plant, but something is, and I'm pretty mad about it. But there's nothing happening here. So I might have to start spraying out here soon enough, because it is starting to grow a bit. And I'm having similar, I mean, I did find cabbage moth worms on my cabbage and lettuce the other day. So we're getting to be that time. Anyway, oops, sorry, dropped you. What are these? Cucumbers. So I believe these are all the same variety of cucumbers, but I'm not, actually, no, they're not. Some are planted from seed and some are planted from starts. So the ones that are planted from seed are the smaller ones, and the ones that I bought at the garden center, these sorts of ones right here that are taller, those are burpless cucumbers, I believe. So those will all start going up here. I have way too many cucumber plants, but it is what it is, and I'll deal with it later. The tomatoes, I've actually had to, I'm gonna have to come in again today and stake that better. They're growing pretty huge. I know there were some large flowers in here last week that have now closed up, so I'm hoping that means that they were pollinated and they will turn into tomatoes soon. no sign of that quite yet, but I do have a fair number of flowers starting to show up on the tomato plants. So yep, this one needs to be staked too now. I actually thought I accidentally cut off the top of this plant because it looked like I only had suckers left, but I think it's okay. And then the San Marzano, I'm actually also worried about this one. I might have cut off the top of this plant, but oh, this isn't the San Marzano. These two are the supersonic beefsteak tomatoes, and I googled them. They're supposed to be indeterminate, which is why I've been pruning them the way I have, but they're not quite growing the way indeterminate do, so I'm hoping I didn't screw them up. But the stems are getting very thick, so I'm hoping that means that they're going to go up higher. This is the San Marzano. This one also is supposed to be indeterminate, but has kind of topped off at this height. So this is not supposed to be, or this is a sucker, but it's not quite growing that way. So I might have to just make this the new main stem and deal. What else is happening here? Oh, this is a sucker that I picked off of one of the plants. I actually don't even know which one it belongs to anymore. And I stuck it in the ground. So now that one's growing. So I might have a backup tomato for one of these. I don't know which one. Possibly the San Marzano. Over here we have spinach row, which is my salvage spinach from the failed container plants. And they were doing okay, actually. They started to grow, but then we had heat and now they're bolting. So if I had transplanted them maybe a couple weeks before I did, it probably would have been okay. But now we're kind of past spinach season, so this is what I have to work with. The those are not cucumbers. Why do I always call them cucumbers? The carrots are growing. They're filling out a bit, and then this whole section is starting to bolt. Actually, even my radishes are starting to bolt, so I'm gonna have to start to get, that's since yesterday. So I'm gonna have to start clearing this out soon and getting new stuff in here. I haven't planned that yet, and that's part of why it's all still here. Some of the lettuce is still doing okay, but the radishes are gonna have to come out. The arugula is definitely done, and I think some of this lettuce here has to come out. It's just all bolting already, and I'm not super attached to the bok choy. The bok choy was my first time growing it. I learned a lot, which is plant it faster and deal with it faster. So I pulled off a couple of leaves, but I didn't get a ton out of that. So yeah, oh, we didn't get to what are these? Snap peas. So, oops, let me get my shadow out of the way. The snap peas are intermingling over here with the cucumbers. So that's part of why I'm trying to get the trellis up and running faster so that, so that these guys aren't competing as much. So I'm trying to get these guys to crawl up here and these guys to crawl up here, and all should be right with the world. I've been trying to keep an eye out for flowers on these, but I haven't seen anything yet. I know that one of my friends in California who gave me the seeds, Larissa, she has this, I believe she has the honey ones growing, and maybe these two. She has, not peppers, my God, get the words out today, Jen. She has peas growing on hers already. I don't, but California's also warmer already, so I'm guessing maybe by next week I might have something. Then this one is, I think these might be flowers. Let's see. Yep, we've got flowers here. So where are they? There they are. So this one is the Royal Snap. I'm not entirely sure. The little labels I made have worn away. Those are definitely the Honey Snap, and those are, let's see if I can read any of the labels. That will help. Can't read that one. What does that look like? It says S Snap. Well, it doesn't say 2 on it, and the one that was Royal Snap was Royal Snap 2. So this is Royal, that's Honey, this is something else. And whatever that something else is starting to flower. So that's good. Then over here, the honey, those are, weed. Those are behind. They have been the whole time, but they'll catch up. Just looking from the back of the tomato plant, see if there's any sneaky tomatoes growing yet. Nope, nothing yet. And then what else so these here are what I believe might actually be the jalapeno plants. So from the overflowing greenhouse thing that I have, I found these two that were unlabeled. So I'm guessing, or actually these three that were unlabeled. So I'm guessing these might be the peppers. So they're in the ground now. We'll see if they end up actually being peppers. I have no idea what these are. They look peppery, so we'll just run with that. And then I found the cilantro in there too. Whoops, that's garbage. So there's some cilantro in here. It's a little too warm and late to do cilantro, but whatever. It's here. If I find something else to put in this space, I'll deal with it. If not, no harm, no foul. There's a lot of room to be putting stuff. So that is, I believe, the update for the box. I'm trying to think if anything else has changed. I think by next week we'll have cucumbers, at least probably to there. We're supposed to get a bunch of rain later this week, so that should help get things upright. And also I just realized this stake is going crooked, so I'm going to deal with that. All right, what else? Oh, the flowers. So I think we're reaching sort of the end of peak flower season, at least. The mint is doing really, really well over there. The flowers are starting to get smaller and last shorter. So they look great still, but they're just not as vibrant as they were. And they're dropping leaves super fast. So I can come in and clear off all of the deadheads today, right now. And by the time I'm ready to go to sleep tonight, there will be a whole other set of deadheads that I have to do, even though they look perfectly fine right now. So I just deadheaded this twice yesterday, and there's 1, 2, 3, at least 3 here that have to come off again. But such is life with flowers. These snapdragons are coming in for a second round, so that's nice. They should start to have another round of flowers soon. And there's a lot of weeds coming up all of a sudden. So this snapdragon's also, this one gets a lot more shade, so I'm thinking that helps because it's larger than all of them and also has more flowers coming out than all of them. Oh, this is actually all new since yesterday. There was absolutely nothing on here. This is a weed. There we go. There was absolutely nothing on here yesterday. I actually came in, this might be one of the ones I deadheaded yesterday, which, oh yeah, I did, because there's the cut. Yeah, so that, I guess that works. I also cut back all of the tops of the columbine. I read online that you can kind of go either way with it. Since they were all entirely dead, I decided to just kill it. The leaves don't look entirely healthy. I don't know if if that's the best spot for them, but stay tuned because there's a lot in at least potential works for this area back here, so I might have to move those columbine anyway. But right now, they look sad. And that's kind of it for this whole mess. I'll get to this mess in a second after the main tour. All right. So ranunculus update. All getting larger, but still no flowers that I can see. Just doing the rounds. The sprinklers hit this in the morning, so the leaves are curled up, but they were watered today. So there's that. And then back here we have Radish Alley. So you can see the leaves on these radishes have grown quite a bit. They're actually, I would say, even doubled or tripled from yesterday. So I don't know what happened overnight, but everything grew. Still nothing at the bottom though. It's just these tiny, tiny, tiny little radishes. So I don't really anticipate getting actual radishes out of this, but at the very least, this amount of leafage will hold back the weeds in here, so I guess there's some benefit to it. And then these are the bushing cucumbers. They're also doubling in size basically overnight. The chives are huge. These are actually probably usable at this point. I'm still shocked that this grew, considering all it went through. And you can also see the carrots popping up in here. Those might actually do better, although this is so rocky that I don't know that they'll have the chance to grow down. And last but not least, the little shade area here. So we have rosemary, peppermint, and the lemongrass I just repotted yesterday or the day before. It had already outgrown. It was in a pot slightly larger than that, and it had already outgrown that. So now I replanted it in this larger pot, and it has already filled out this pot in like 2 days. It's kind of crazy. So I'm really liking the lemongrass, and from what I hear, it also prevents and deters bugs. So considering the hammock is right there, having the lemongrass here hopefully is a good thing. And this is the tree. This used to be the pink tree, the pizza tree. It is now filled in with leaves. I really like the color it turned into, so that was nice. Penny, literally nothing there. Come here. Come. Just as a zoom out for a second, let's actually zoom out. So you can see this is myrtle, and then there's that juniper tree there. Okay, so then there's this big, I don't know, Christmas tree type thing here. I don't know what type of tree it is exactly, but it's huge. If I had to guess, 35, 40 feet tall. If you were to lay it down, it would probably come to where I'm standing. Actually, it would come past where I'm standing right now. So this length here is 30 something feet, if I remember correctly, and it's taller than that. So that tree, and then there's this, I believe, arborvitae right here. And if you can see behind it, there's, I've always heard them called mimosa trees, but it's basically a weed that turned into a tree, and there's a bunch of those growing. You can see its stem right there. So that I definitely want to get rid of, and I've mentioned it for the past couple weeks. I've been trying to get a landscaper to come over. So the plan is that the landscaper is going to come over later this week, barring rain. So if he does, plan one is to deal with all the rocks and weeds back here. There's tons of rocks and weeds, and we've gone over my attempt to get rid of those rocks. It was ridiculous. So I'm hoping that they could just come in with some sort of tool, or I don't know, just sheer manpower or something, and deal with that, because it's starting to look really unkempt and it's bothering me. And so the plan is currently to remove the mimosa tree, possibly, maybe even probably, get rid of this tree and trim this tree way the hell back. It's just huge. You can see that on either side there's azalea bushes, and they're actually growing out and sideways now. They're not growing on center because this tree has gotten so wide, it's pushed it out. So if you look at this, let's see if I can zoom in, this azalea bush right here, you can see, where's my finger? Here. This right here is the root system, with the azalea bushes growing that way. So that whole thing is just, it just hasn't been maintained properly, and now it's just a little bit too much to deal with. So I tried to come in and trim this last year. I pulled up all of the branches. They were all basically lying on the ground, and so all that grass was dead back there. So I pulled all of that up. It's no longer touching the ground. You can see here there's some space and things can breathe, but that has also produced all of those weeds. So, and you can also see where my height exceeded the ability, or the tree's height exceeded my ability to reach with the trimmer. So it's tighter here, and then it starts to bush out again, and the same is true on that side. So I would like to try and salvage this tree. It's very old. If I had to guess, it's original to the house, and I kind of like it. It provides good visual barrier for the house behind me, and it's just old and large and kind of nice, and there's not a lot of large old trees around here that are alive. So I don't know, I don't really want to get rid of it, but at the same time it's very large and unruly, and from what I understand, it can't be trimmed back. It'll just look bare. So I'll talk to the landscaper and see what my options are, but there is a chance that this tree might go. I'm definitely taking out these. Well, if the tree goes, I might not take out the azalea bushes, but if the tree doesn't go, I'm definitely taking out the azalea bushes and put in something just further out so that they can grow properly. And then over here where myrtle is, so myrtle is this tree in the front. It's a crepe myrtle. I spent a lot of time trimming it and training it in the, let's see, I guess it would have been the early spring. So myrtle is here, and then there's this great big Hollywood juniper here that I've also spent a lot of time trimming back, and it's just still so large. It's growing a ton into my neighbor's yard, which I don't love. If I were my neighbor, I wouldn't be happy with it. So I would like it to be at least trimmed back, and then that whole thing, while it looks super cool, is just filled with vines from the various weeds that we're growing in that I've killed, but there's just still a lot of it. So I would like to keep that tree, but at the same time, it's another one of those situations where it has just been left to fester for so long that it just doesn't look nice anymore. And it's growing, let's see if I can get this, it's growing at a near 45-degree angle and leaning on the fence. So not an ideal scenario. So I would like to keep that tree, but I don't know if I will. And if that tree does go, the plan would be to move Myrtle to where that tree is. So that Myrtle is kind of the corner piece there, and I don't need the visual barrier as much as I do anywhere else. So, and Myrtle's kind of high anyway. So get Myrtle in that corner. I don't know if it will kill Myrtle in the process, but that would be ideal. And then that would free up this whole bed here to either do something else with, push it back, you know, clear that area. I could put another box behind it if I wanted to. The sprinkler system electrical is back there too, so that kind of creates an annoyance. But my current thinking is, if the quotes are appropriate and, you know, it makes sense, then I might actually clear cut this whole back and just start over. You know, have them clean out the whole bottom and clean out all the trees, not this tree staying, and just start anew. That way I can properly maintain things, and that will also create a lot more sun back there so that I can hopefully plant more. Because if you look at the shadows right now, this is actually the prime time for these shadows. The arborvitaes, which you can see the top of, and the mimosa tree, they're creating this whole shadow here. And then this tree is creating the rest of the shadow here. So the sun is, it's what, 9:30, 9:40 something probably now. It's almost 10 in the morning. So the sun is, you know, decently high in the sky, but still on the east side. So it's just like domino shades, and just makes that so that that area isn't quite plantable for full sun things. So I don't know. This is me thinking out loud a lot and recording for my own, I guess, interest and memories should I decide to take these plants out. But for now, this is what it looks like. And who knows, maybe come next week, I doubt they can get this all done in a week if that is what I end up doing, but maybe come an update or two from now, this might look totally different. And this will be but a memory, but it could also just end up being exactly the same. The rocks are going no matter what. Those rocks and weeds are going. So that is the update for this week. It was quite a long one. Thank you for watching. If these are interesting to you, just kind of my thought process and how I'm gonna evolve this yard, just like leave a comment or a like or something, and let me know. Or if you prefer focus on the plants or the flowers, or, you know, whatever else is going on back here, let me know what is more interesting, because I can just talk about the yard for hours on end, obviously, because I spend literally all of my time back here. I'm never inside, and I'm trying to make it a bit more, I don't know, of a whole other living space. So, you know, I have the little bistro area there, the hammock's usually out, which is a little early, yeah. Then the whole seating area is up there. So if you're interested in that whole process, that will probably take multiple years, let me know. If you're interested in just the garden, let me know, or just the flowers, or just Penny videos, let me know in the comments, and I will try and do that. Cool. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe if this is all cool and interesting to you. I'd love to keep doing them as this whole thing unfolds, and I will see you next week. Bye.